back in the win column, and we know it's not going to be an easy task.
How would you describe your tenure in Houston?
It was short. It was one season. Other than that, I'm very proud of a lot of things that we accomplished. At the end of the day, in that one season, we won a division, we won a playoff game, and that's what I remember.
In what ways have your mechanics changed or improved between the middle of the 2016 season and the middle of the 2018 season?
Yeah, I think just overall my footwork and my mechanics have gotten a lot better because it's something that we've stressed. And when I say we, it's this coaching staff as well as myself. And it really even goes back to when I went to Cleveland. I was with a coach there by the name of David Lee, coach here in Miami for a few years. But he was the quarterback coach in Cleveland, and he's a stickler on fundamentals, and I'm very appreciative for the time I had with him because he got me going on them again. And then when I came here to Miami this year, it was one of the reasons why I wanted to come here and play for this coaching staff because I knew fundamentals was very important to not only Coach Gase, but Coach Loggins and Coach Hardegree. And it's something that we stress daily. We do the same routine every single day in practice to make sure that our fundamentals do stay sharp.
Brock, this offense is missing two big weapons, at least for this week, in Kenny and Albert. How do you recover from that? How do you make up for that?
Next man up. Those guys will certainly be missed because they're very talented players. They're great teammates, and they're great leaders. So we will surely miss them. However, Coach Gase has stressed it since week one of this football season. Injuries are going to take place, and it's all about the next man up approach. And whoever that guy is who's going to step into that role, he's expected to play as though he is that starter. He's expected to play at that level, and I don't doubt for a second that our guys will.
But you do lose some big play capability. Do you need more extended drives now from that standpoint?
I'm going to leave the schematics to Coach Gase and Coach Loggins. They're brilliant when it comes to putting game plans together. My job is to try to execute the plays that they call to the best of my ability, work through my progression. And so I can't really tell you how they're going to adjust the game plan, but whatever they do, we'll be ready for it, and we're going to go execute it.
You had experience, I guess, when you left Denver to go to Houston, when you played the Broncos the next year. What did you sort of learn from that, and how can you take that for this game?
Yeah, boy, that was a while ago. That was quite a few football games ago. But just initially drawing back on that experience, and it's really how I treated that Denver game when I went back. You really do need to treat it just like it's a normal football game. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot of outside noise trying to make a situation bigger than what it really is. But at the end of the day, like I said, our one season, or I should say my one season I had in Houston, I look at it as a successful season. We won our division, and like I said, we won a playoff game. There's a lot of other teams in the National Football League that didn't do that. And at the end of the day, business decisions are made in this business, and that's what took place. And, there's no hard feelings, there's no ill will. And at the end of the day, my mind's focused on just, playing a good football game Thursday and doing whatever this football team needs me to do to help them get a win.
What were your feelings on the mechanics of the trade when it happened, particularly given, what they were giving up with you?
I paid no attention to that. In fact, I couldn't even tell you what they did give up. Bottom line, I got a phone call. I was told I was going to Cleveland, and I think you guys know me well enough at this point now. I don't look in the past. I'm always looking forward to the future and the things I can control, and that's really what I did in that moment.
Have you spoken to Bill since that day?
I have not.
What are your feelings for Bill?
I'm not really worried about that. Like I said, at the end of the day, I have great respect for him, that organization, everything involved there. There was business decisions that had to be made. They were made, and we all moved on.
How fair or unfair is it that every NFL player is graded not just by how they do, but against their salary cap number?
Wow. You know, I think that question's above my pay grade. I would just say, hey,
As an athlete.
hey, life's unfair. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, focusing on things you can control. And so as far as whatever your you know, money is against the cap or isn't against the cap and how well you're playing, I mean, that's all just, you know, letters on paper. At the end of the day, as players, we're focused on, you know, being great teammates, coming together, trying to find ways to win, having some fun along the way, and that's where our focus is.
How much do you think you continued to evolve yesterday from the first time you started? And can you talk about the touchdown pass to Danny Amendola?
Yeah, you know, I think things, I think they got better yesterday. I really do. I think we grew as an offensive unit. Kind of like I said yesterday after the game, you know, I didn't get any reps with the ones in OTAs or training camp or preseason games. So my first time playing with a lot of those guys, the majority of those guys, was against the Bears. And then my second go-around was obviously yesterday. So the more time I can get with those guys, the better we're going to be. That's just the fact. You know, I know there was some moments yesterday where I can anticipate some throws because now I know the body language of some of our skill guys more than I did a week earlier. As far as the play to Danny goes, it was something, we had a situation we were calling kind of a man zone play. You know, Detroit came out in man, and Danny was actually on the backside of that read. I was able to get outside the pocket, and, you know, Danny just did a tremendous job. It's something we talk about all the time in our skill position meetings is our scramble drill. And that's really what that was, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. He got to the right spot, and it was truly just an effort play. You know, he played, as Coach Gase is always telling us to do, play to the end of the play to the whistle, and that's what Danny did. He took off, made a heck of a catch, and made a huge play for this football team when we really needed one.
Following up on Joe's question, when you've come in as a rookie and you had that first contract, you signed a big free agent deal. And I can ask players across all sports, when they sign a big free agent deal, whether it's a big cap number, big salary, you feel that added pressure to perform up to that number?
I wouldn't say there's pressure. There's no pressure. But at the end of the day, you want to live up to the hopes that the organization has for you, if that makes sense. You know, you're obviously given that contract expecting that you can come in and help take that franchise to maybe a place that they haven't been before. So I wouldn't call that pressure because as players, that's the situation we want to be in. You know, you want to be in a situation where you're playing for a great team and you have an opportunity to win championships. So, you know, at least with my case with Houston, there was no added pressure, but certainly as a competitor, as a person, as someone who cares for the people that he's around and the people that he works with, you know, you want to do great by that organization.
Buck, how much work have you gotten? You mentioned you didn't really work with the ones before the last couple of weeks with Devontae Parker. Have you thrown to him at all before this week? How much have you worked with him?
You know, we haven't got a lot of reps together, to be honest with you. You know, Ryan's primarily taken all those reps going back to the spring and summer, and but I was able to get a couple with Devontae last week in practice, and hopefully I can get a few more this week before we hit the field Thursday.
He's obviously going to be an important part of Thursday. How do you build that chemistry in 2 days?
That's the challenge, but that's a challenge we look forward to. You know, as professional athletes, these are the moments you dream of. You know, playing on a big stage. You know, we'll be the only game on TV Thursday night. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are probably counting us out with all these injuries and new guys who are going to be playing, but that's what makes this fun. You know, we're going to go into that stadium and it's going to kind of be a, you know, us against the world mentality, and we're going to have fun with it.
Brock, you probably have more experience with the guys that are being forced to play now because of all the injuries. No?
You're exactly right. You know, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be doing with the roster, if anything. You know, as you can imagine, there's a lot of scrambling today with the short week. But if any of those guys are brought up from the practice squad, you're exactly right. I'm very familiar with all those guys. I'm very comfortable with them, and we'll be ready to go.
What do they bring, Carew and Isaiah Ford, what do they bring to a team?
You know, they just bring energy. They bring a spark. They're young guys who are hungry to make big plays in this league. You know, they're hungry for their opportunity. So if their number gets called this week, I know they'll be ready to play. They're going to do a tremendous job. They're going to execute the plays just like Coach wants them. And when it's time for them to make a play, I can promise you they'll make it.
What we saw from Mike Gesicki yesterday, could you call it a breakthrough or just kind of another step on the ladder?
I wouldn't call it a breakthrough. You know, Mike's a tremendous football player. He really is. And at the end of the day, you know, there's times where great football players, especially skill position guys, you know, they just don't see the ball. You know, maybe they're number 2 or 3 or 4 in a progression, and number 1's getting open all day, or number 1 and 2's getting open all day, and they're number 3 in the progression. Or they are finally, you know, number 1 in progression, and the defense plays a great coverage, so you have to move on. So, you know, Mike's done a tremendous job in games and in practice. I think yesterday you just saw an opportunity for him to make a couple plays, and he really did. He definitely made the most of his opportunities.
Since you became the starter, can you give me a good example of something that Coach Gase has said to you that really resonates with you positively?
You know, I think the biggest thing about playing football for Coach Gase as a quarterback is you know he has your back. He's going to support you, he's going to be there for you, and he's going to talk through things. And one of the things, you know, he's said to me is, you know, don't try to do too much, just play within our system. And, you know, that means a lot, because I think a lot of times quarterbacks in this league, there's too much pressure put on them to make plays when maybe other bad things are going on around them. Where I think there's some great coaches out there that say, hey, regardless of what's going on around you, just focus on doing your job and play within our system. And if you do your job to the best of your ability, that's all I can ask. And, you know, that's obviously not verbatim the conversations we've had, but, you know, Coach he's a tremendous quarterback coach, and he definitely supports us very well.
Last one for Safin.
Brock, you have you're reunited with Coach Gase. You're taking on this role as a starter now. What do you think the expectation the Dolphins have for you?
Well, I would hope the expectations are for me to play tremendous football and to lead this football team to wins. If it's anything but that, I shouldn't be the guy behind center. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're the 1, 2, 3, or 4 in this business. This is professional football, and we're paid to be successful on game day and to help our football teams win games.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Lined up quickly, making sure we make sure we see what's going on out of the huddle, and we get lined up, get our feet in the ground, read our keys, and just play.
Did it feel like yesterday that no matter what you guys did, you just couldn't turn the tide?
I mean, you can say that. I mean, that's hindsight. You can say that in the moment. We've had times like that in the past and throughout the season, and we've been able to come up with a big play and change that momentum. We just weren't able to make that play.
T.J., what did it mean to have Cam Lake and Bobby McCain back out there yesterday?
I mean, it was huge just for the dynamic of this team. I mean, they're two great, players, two great teammates to have, guys that bring a lot of energy. So to have them back, and you can kind of just feel it through the week of practice, having them back. We just felt like, I feel real comfortable with them out there, and got two good leaders.
What's unique about Deshaun Watson?
He can do a whole lot. He can run, he can pass, he brings a lot of energy to that team. So, I mean, he's been fun to watch, in the short time in the league so far. So, definitely got to watch tape on him, study as much as we can. And the biggest thing for us is just going to be executing the things that we need to do.
TJ, you know that playing at home is generally better than playing on the road, and traveling on for a Thursday night game is even tougher, I assume. Is there anything good about traveling to a Thursday night game, and can you remember in your experience having success as the away team on Thursday
I've definitely won away games. Actually, it was Houston, against Houston. I'm not sure if it was a Thursday night game or not, but I think that anytime that you're away, you gotta go up with a pack mentality, us against everybody. All the outside noise is kind of quiet, and you got to find your momentum and your juices from within the squad. So we just got to make sure we come up and go out, like I said, bring our own energy, pack our own energy, and make sure we mentally prepare all week. I think that would be all right.
TJ, what's sort of been your interaction with Brock and what's your thoughts of him as a teammate as well?
Say that again?
What are your interactions with Brock and what are your thoughts of him as a teammate?
He's been confident since he's got in there. He's been confident. He's brought a spark. That's all you can ask from a guy in that situation. When you got a quarterback who played like he did last week or yesterday, we didn't have his back the way that we should have. But everybody's got to improve. But he's been confident. He's came out there with a swagger about him, and he's been good. He can't really ask for much more as to what he's been doing since he's been in and filling in, and not really not having a drop off or anything like that, and facing one of the top defenses in the league and be able to respond the way he did and come back last week or yesterday and play the way he did. So he's been good, brought a spark, had a swagger about him and confidence.
You guys get to go against Leonte Crew and Isaiah Ford most of the time in practice on the looks team. What have you seen from them that shows you that they are ready to contribute?
Say that again?
You guys have been practicing against Leonte Crew and Isaiah Ford on the looks team. What have you seen from them that has you convinced that they're ready to contribute?
They compete, every day in practice. They compete. Carew is a guy who's been active before. He's seen game day caught balls. They're going. I know one thing about those guys is that they're going to compete and they're going to listen. They're going to do whatever they're asked to do.
TJ, you guys have 11 sacks right now. I guess the pass rush has helped you get the interceptions that lead the league, but what have you thought about the pass rush overall? And how effective has it been? What needs to improve, do you think?
Like rush and coverage all works together. So we're all working together. I can't pinpoint one thing over the other. When we cover the guys and have them covered and make the quarterback, hold the ball a little bit. They usually get to the quarterback and vice versa. So I think that the turnovers that we have and the sacks we have are both, kind of feed off of each other.
TJ, we've heard Jakeem Grant has earned a nickname with you guys as the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
The Bully.
The Bully, excuse me. The Bully. What has it made him so difficult for you guys to kind of defend and what makes him so tough?
He's just full of heart. He's a guy that's gonna go out there. People look at his size and think one thing, but when we were out there in camp, he was blocking well, and that's something that everybody sees him take the top off. But he was out there. He's full of heart, and not scared to get into it. And so that's kind of what we've seen from him is that he's gonna go out there, whatever he's asked to do, he's gonna give it 110%, and whether it's taking the top off of defense or blocking in the run game, and he takes a lot of pride in that. I know he does.
Thank you.